Gen friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Let's teach the children of India. Let's teach them Zafarnama. And they will become better. They will become people with stronger moral character. Because free speech, democracy, you can abuse us, you can still take our money. The Chinese are clear. You say one word about China, you'll switch off the tap. Gen friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. So there's a lot of news that I'm going to cover today, mainly 4-5 heads. And the first is that, the president of Belarus, his name is Alexander Lukashenko, and he's a very close ally of President Putin, and they've been in this entire space together. Now, he's made a very controversial comment, and the president of Belarus says that anybody who joins the union of Russia and Belarus, anybody who comes to our side, countries that are sitting on the fence, countries who don't know whom to support, because obviously this is a fight not between Russia and Ukraine, but the world sees it as a fight between Russia and NATO, the West on one side and Russia on the other side, with the Ukraine being the NATO's proxy fighting against Russia. So that is one way of looking at the stuff. Now, this gentleman says, again I repeat his name, Alexander Lukashenko. Alexander Lukashenko says that anybody who supports our union will get nuclear weapons. Let that sink in for a while. It's very simple, and I'm quoting him, quote, "It's very simple, you have to join the union between Belarus and Russia and that's it. There will be nuclear weapons for everyone." Lukashenko said in a comment aired Tuesday night on Russia's state TV, "I think it's possible." Lukashenko said, saying that he was expressing his own view, "We need to strategically understand that we have a unique chance to unite." Obviously, he's not expressing his own view. He must have had blessings of the Kremlin or Putin personally to say this, because he has said it publicly on the state television channel, which the world has seen. Now, Russia is caught in a slightly difficult situation, and I'll tell you why. So far, Russia was attacking. So far, Russia was giving nightmares to Ukraine. Now, Russians have come under attack and there were drone strikes in Moscow. Can you imagine? They've managed to reach Moscow, and there was a drone strike on the Kremlin also some time back. But that was just for show. That was that, okay. I don't know whether the Ukrainians did it or not. They said no, Russia says yes. But this time the Ukrainians have actually carried out drone strikes in the heart of Moscow. So the war has reached Moscow. Russia thought initially, and even I thought, I'm guilty also. First of all, I thought that Russia will not invade. And when Russia invaded, I thought it will last for just a week, 10 days. Because being in the Indian army, we're very well aware of the might of the Russian army and how big it is, how large it is. But with a lot of Western help, Western money, Western technology and Western advice, Ukraine has been managing to keep Russia off. Russia has managed to attack Kiev, which is the capital of Ukraine, and Ukraine has managed to target Moscow directly. So now there is conflict inside Moscow. Ukrainian drones are slamming into buildings in Moscow, and this is something that, I don't think Russia catered for that when they started the war. I think it was 22nd or 23rd of February last year, when Russia stepped into Ukraine. They didn't realize that it would come to this, but it has. Ukrainian drones struck wealthy districts of Moscow on Tuesday. Russia said in what one politician called the most dangerous attack on the capital since World War II, while Kiev was also hit from the air for the third time in 24 hours. And yes, this article also says exactly what I said. I just read it right now. That since Russia sent tens of thousands of troops into its neighbor in February 2022, the war has largely been fought inside Ukraine. So into the wealthy districts, the posh districts, you can call it the South Delhi or the South Mumbai of Moscow. It is in those places that drones are hitting buildings. And Ukrainians are taking credit. They're saying, yes, we are the ones who attacked. And the Russians admit that since the Second World War, nobody has done it, because nobody has attacked Moscow directly. Nobody ever reached Moscow. The Ukrainians apparently have reached Moscow, aided and abetted by Western technology. So where this war is going, all bets are off. We don't know. In a news from India, the NCERT, which decides the curriculum for schools, they have dropped Khalistan and separate Sikh nation studies. It was being taught in political science textbook of class 12th of the CBSE. And but the top Sikh body called the SGPC, which is the Sikh Gurudwara Prabandhak Committee, the chief Harjinder Singh Dhami said that Sikhs are not separatists. And such insinuations are maligning the entire community. We strongly condemn it. So taking the SGPC chief's, feedback, NCRT dropped the entire thing, and I think it's good. I think it's good. Why should these Khalistanis get, any sort of traction when it comes to India? Why should they? You know what we should be teaching to our kids and to the next generation of Indians? We should be teaching them about the Sikh Gurus. We should be teaching them about Sikhi. We should be teaching them about the Battle of Chamkaur Sahib. We should be teaching them Zafarnama. That is what Sikhism is about. The teachings of Guru Gobind Singh Ji and Guru Nanak Sahib. All these teachings, and the various Sikh Gurus. There are 10 Sikh Gurus. And this is something that should be taught. Not these dirty Khalistanis. They have nothing to do with Sikhism. These dirty Khalistanis are not Sikhs. They're vermin. They're animal. And why are we teaching? A few Khalistanis in National Geographic and Discovery Channel is fine, right? But not for us. Not in our textbooks. Let's teach the children of India. Let's teach them Zafarnama, and they will become better. They will become people with stronger moral character, stronger courage, sense of morality. They should study Zafarnama. Thank God these Khalistanis have been kicked out of textbooks. I'm very happy. All right. India extends $1 billion credit line to Sri Lanka for another year. Now, India has already extended $4 billion to Sri Lanka. And many people say that India was instrumental in Sri Lanka getting the IMF assistance. So here is my request to our Sri Lankan brothers and sisters. See, the Chinese had never done good for anybody here. Look at Laos. Look at those half a dozen countries in Africa. Look at Nepal. Look at Bangladesh. And finally, look at the case study of them all, the global case study, Pakistan. The Pakistanis were welcoming of the Chinese from day one. They were saying, buy our country, it's up for sale. And the Chinese wrote a check and the Pakistanis were happy to sell their country. But, without economic sovereignty, there is nothing. So at least Sri Lanka has economic sovereignty. Even if it's in the midst of a deep economic crisis, they have maintained their economic sovereignty, which the Pakistanis have not, unfortunately. So here is a lesson, Sri Lankan brothers and sisters. Chinese stuff is spurious. Get rid of the Chinese. Except for their food and their kung fu, nothing else is worth it. Right? Get rid of them straight away. And we are friends. And I would request these big directors and producers from the Mumbai film industry to shoot in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka has got lovely beaches, it's got lovely hotels, it's got a beautiful countryside. Shoot in Sri Lanka. Go and maybe 100, 150 movies a year. They should be shot in Sri Lanka. Our film industry in the south, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra, Kerala, these are massive film industries on their own. The Hindi film industry, the Bengali film industry, Marathi. And there are so many others, the Bhojpuri film industry, and everybody's making a lot of money. Go and shoot in Sri Lanka. Help our neighbors, and they will help you also, because they've got fantastic infrastructure in that country and they've got fantastic locations. And I think more and more people should be encouraged from the film industry to go and shoot. India should also, the BCCI should step in here and say that a specific series for Sri Lanka. Indian team should go, park in Sri Lanka, and go there at least for 2-3 years continuously. Right? Tourism. This the government should encourage. If you can give sort of a rebate to flyers, I don't know whether you can do this or not, but you can give a rebate to flyers so that tickets, Sri Lankan Airlines can come in here, because you are anyway giving Sri Lanka money. So more and more people use Sri Lankan Airlines. Air Lanka, I think it's called. So more and more people from India. So anybody who wants to go to Sri Lanka, Air Lanka flight from this thing, more. They're actually happening, but more and more should use the Sri Lankan Airlines and go to Sri Lanka, and tourism and all that should happen in Sri Lanka. And I think it's going to do wonders for the economy of this friendly island nation. And we have a shared history. We have so much of common culture with the Sri Lankans. And this is the time for Indians to step up, not just the government of India, but the people of India to step up, right? If your neighbor is in a problem and you're sleeping peacefully, then there is something wrong with you. Except, of course, if that neighbor is Pakistan, then you can sleep peacefully. Otherwise, any other neighbor gets into any sort of problem. It's time for us to step up. And tomorrow, heaven forbid, if we are in a problem, our neighbors will step up. That is how you live. So, another news, Pakistan is straight out of Comedy Central. Pakistan PIA plane, Pakistan International Airlines plane has been seized by Malaysia for non-payment of dues. There was apparently a Boeing 777 and they had to pay $4 million. Now, this same plane was held up by the Malaysian authorities a few years back because Pakistan had said, no money. As usual, Pakistan never says we have money because they truly don't. This time also Pakistan said no money. They said, okay, for the second time, same plane. The same plane. They said it's going nowhere. Now, it was on a lease from Malaysia. And initially when they had this plane, when they had sort of said that we are taking possession of this plane, the Malaysians, the Pakistanis had launched a diplomatic offensive, which basically translated into one sentence that both the countries are Muslims and, you can't do this to a fellow Muslim brother. That is the length and breadth of Pakistan's foreign policy. There is nothing else. I think the Malaysians got conned once before, but I don't think they're getting conned again. And I would request the Malaysians, keep religion to your homes. Don't trust Pakistan. Ensure that they pay you money. And next time, cancel out that column of dues. Take money in advance from Pakistan. Right? Because if that country sinks, and it's sinking very fast, all you'll be left with is junk and paperwork, which will amount to nothing because Pakistanis are known for breaking their promises. Even if you have them signed on a piece of paper, it does not matter. A Pakistani Prime Minister will simply say that, the previous guy made this promise and I know nothing about it. That's it. So Malaysians, be smart. Take your money in advance from the Pakistanis. Don't trust them. Their main business model, their profitability, if there is such a thing in Pakistan, their profitability is based on not paying taxes, not paying dues, not making payments. That is how they become profitable. Because if they start following the rules and they start following laws, every Pakistani company will go bankrupt. So please remember, take your money in advance from the Pakistanis. Don't trust them. In another report, very interestingly, Norway says that Pakistan poses a threat to Norway. Achha, nobody says that Pakistan brought a smile to our faces and we love Pakistan and stuff like that. Nobody says this. Not one country. Norway, just imagine Norway. One crazy end of Europe, Norway. It says that we are threatened by Pakistan. How are we threatened? Now, according to the Greek-based publication, Norwegian businesses, researchers and research institutes possess knowledge and technology that are sought after for development of advanced weapon systems and weapons of mass destruction. As per the directors, Pakistan may use two ways to achieve the proliferation of sensitive technology. On one hand, it will install researchers and education and research institutes in Norway to illegally obtain sensitive technology and transfer it to Pakistan for development programs of weapons. On the other, it will try to circumvent. Directors suggest that Norwegian authorities have to sensitize its companies about the nefarious designs of Pakistan in obtaining sensitive technology. Stricter export regulations and intense scrutiny of research scholars from Pakistan are the need of the hour for Norwegian authorities. Okay, so basically what Pakistan does is, all these scholars in Pakistan, they say, okay, they'll go and study in Norway and they'll go, and China did exactly this. This is how China built its wealth, right? The Chinese know how to copy. Chinese are not original people, except for gunpowder and paper, which they invented thousands of years back, or hundreds, I don't know how many years back. The Chinese have done absolutely nothing. So they don't create anything. There's nothing to create in China. It's like cookie cutters, Not very bright, but exceptional at copying. So this is what they've taught their Pakistani friends, or slaves rather. What the Chinese have done is something very simple. Stolen intellectual property rights of the West and created this huge empire. Done a lot of contract manufacturing from the West and created this huge, economic superpower. And it is an economic superpower. All out of theft and taking away technology, etc. Now, what Norway is saying is that, we do a lot of stuff in weapon systems, we do a lot of stuff in alternate technologies, and Norway is one of the world leaders. Pakistan, what Pakistanis will do is, they'll play the victim card. I'll tell you what Pakistanis will do because they've done it before, they've been caught, they've been shamed, they've been expelled from countries, but this is what the Pakistanis will do. Their researchers will go They'll steal technology from Ukraine, and if they are caught, they will play the Islamophobia card, they will play the victim card. This is what Pakistanis do. You go, if you manage to steal, it's fine. If you manage to steal, it's absolutely fine. If you do not manage to steal, and if you get caught, because steal you will, because that is why you've been sent, not to study, but to indulge in thievery. If Pakistanis get caught, then they'll say, oh, we are Muslims, which is why the Norwegians, who are Christians, and because our ancestors fought the Crusades, and there was Richard the Lionheart on one side and Salahuddin Ayyubi, some nonsense they will say, and they'll play the victim card. Okay, this is the Crusades happening all over again, and we poor Pakistanis, because we are Muslims, we are being mistreated, blah, blah, blah. This is going to happen. And this is the ideal. Chinese also play the same victim card. We are victims of racism. That is what they say whenever they get caught in espionage. This is the first thing that the Chinese say. You know, the Americans, because we are different looking and our skin color is different, therefore the Americans are against us. This guy is spying, by the way, okay? Caught spying. Red-handed, pants down, caught spying. But he will say that the Americans are indulging in racism. Like the Chinese use the racism card, the Pakistanis will use the Islamophobia card. And this is why they're very dangerous. And this is a Norwegian report. And they say that, yeah, these guys need to go, yeah, Pakistanis. Be very careful when you get Pakistanis into your system, because the Pakistanis will try and infiltrate, will try to steal technology. They're not there to study. They're there for thievery. They're not going to study. They're not scholars. Essentially, these scholars are very high-tech thieves who have gone there to steal technology. Now, the US military official has said that the country is left with no choice but to prepare for a conflict in outer space due to Russia's aggression and China's ambition of becoming the dominant space power by mid-century. Brigadier General Jesse Morehouse and blah, blah, blah. We are ready to fight in outer space. You know what? I think the Americans need to get their act together. And this is the last news item. I'll just wrap it up in 2-3 minutes. I think the Americans need to get their act together. When you go into our countries, any country for that matter, your reasons are wrong. You try to impose American culture in that country. And it's never accepted because people are very possessive about their culture. And democracy could be a part of that culture. Now the Iraqis, possibly, I'm saying possibly, or the Afghans, they don't want democracy. Maybe some do, maybe some don't, I don't know. You went there to fight a war against terror. You know why you lost. And the reason why China wins, because you try to interfere, you try to get into the homes of people, the minds of people. Don't do that. China is simple and China is brilliant. China just wants your money. China doesn't want you to become, like for example, Americans will say $300 million given to Pakistan for polio eradication. China doesn't care if Pakistanis have polio or not. China couldn't care less. $150 million for women's education, United States of America. China doesn't care if women in Pakistan are educated or not. China couldn't care less. $500 million for clean water. Do the Chinese actually care if Pakistanis drink water or not? The problem is that Pakistanis are still not drinking clean water. Women are still not getting educated, right? Polio is still there in Pakistan. And you have been giving hundreds of millions of dollars. Total billions of dollars have been spent. Democracy, we are very concerned about democracy. China says we are not concerned about democracy in Pakistan because we ourselves are not a democracy. Why should we be concerned about democracy in Pakistan? China is very clear. You should have strategic clarity. China has strategic clarity, which America does not have. So, America has given money to Pakistan. Chinese have given money to Pakistan. But have you realized? There is anti-Chinese sentiment in Pakistan. There is, but not so much. There is massive anti-American sentiment in Pakistan. America has never asked for money. America has never mortgaged or said that, we'll take your land. China has done everything like that. Okay? But the Chinese are still supposed to be friendly. No Pakistani general or Pakistani politician or Pakistani bureaucrat would abuse China, but everybody across the board is going to abuse the United States of America. Because free speech, democracy, you can abuse us, you can still take our money. The Chinese are clear. You say one word about China, we'll switch off the tap. So I think strategic clarity is called for. If you're talking about fighting in space, forget about space. Forget about space. China is very fast taking up the strategic space that you have voluntarily vacated because of your wishy-washy ideals. which don't hold water. So ladies and gentlemen, with that I come to the end of this video. If you like this video, please press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata ki Jai.